Okay, so I got cut off. My my phone was full. So what I think I'm going to do, it doesn't even have room for me to upload one of the videos. I would have to upload them all. And what I decided to do was I'm going to go ahead and finish out this one. And I'm actually going to redo my first one because I waste a lot of time talking about things that I'm just going to cut out. I'm going to edit that out and get me just talking about what's important instead of wasting your time. Nobody wants to listen to somebody talk on and on and on about something that doesn't. So, so what I was saying at the end of the video that just cut me off is that I felt I always had an undersupply, and what I realize now, knowing what I know now about oversupply, that I probably did at some points have oversupply. So now we talked about what to do with engorgement. Now I want to give you some tips on how to know if you have an oversupply. So I am going to flip back, excuse me, while I flip back to this 58, page 58. Let me see here. So, we are talking about how engorgement and spitting up or vomiting can sort of relate. And engorgement basically is an oversupply or a full breast. I shouldn't say oversupply. Let me take that back. It's a very, very full breast, which engorgement is a very, very full breast. And oversupply, you may not necessarily have a full breast anymore because now your body knows what, how much to make, but it still might be too much. You might even find that you're uncomfortable when it comes to a feeding, overly uncomfortable. So that's kind of how their engorgement can also cause the baby to struggle when they're latching, because it's like it sprays really quickly into their mouth and they're trying to stop it, and it makes them cry and panic and like pull off the breast. I've had moms say, because of this, they felt the baby didn't want them. And what it was there was so much milk that when the baby would latch, all this milk would spray into their mouth and they couldn't control it, especially when they're first learning those first few days. But a baby who is used to feeding, you might not notice that happening with the oversupply because your breasts aren't full. So you have to look for other signs. And spitting up and vomiting can be a sign of oversupply. That's where the, the whole spitting up and vomiting can come into play with oversupply. So oversupply, and I'm reading it from my manual, is, typically I would say if a baby was really gassy, they burping a lot, pulling or off the breast, gulping, they seem to gulp. They can have lots of diarrhea, like shooting out diarrhea. Let's see, I'm trying to think some of the things. A mother could come in talking about these specific signs, and this would be what I would think of. Especially, I knew a mom that literally cut out everything in her diet and was just eating toast and oatmeal, she said, and the baby still was having really bad colic. And my first thought was oversupply. And so that is something definitely, if you're getting to a point where you can't eat anything, you probably want to, it's probably not the food that's maybe making the baby the way they're feeling, where they're vomiting, spitting up, colicky, that kind of thing. It could very well be oversupply. So what would you be looking for? The gulping at the breast, because they're getting the same thing like the bottle, because they're getting a lot of air. So you could see a lot of gulping. And highly colicky babies, there could be them getting too much milk. They're gulping and getting too much milk all at once. Getting air because they're like letting go. And sorry, I got a piece of eyelash in my eye. So that could be another sign as well. So they give like different tips of what you can do, and I'm going to take a picture of those instead of like necessarily going through every single one. I am going to take a picture of them and include them at the end of the part 3 so that you have it to read and kind of look at, not have to remember or rewind or keep watching this video. So a lot of times though, I'm going to mention a few here. You want to have a posture in which the baby can move their head freely. So when the milk is too fast or too much, they can kind of adjust how they're laying or feeding, how they're getting it. So thinking of the position and the posture, if you think this might be a problem. It cut me off again. I'm sorry. So annoying. It's when you delete something and then it goes to your deleted folder. I'm sitting here thinking, I just deleted a 15-minute video. Why is this only letting me go 5 minutes or however long it was, 5 minutes? Then I remembered I didn't delete it from the deleted folder. So annoying. Okay, so I just got to get this finished because I'm talking people's ears off. You just want to hear the answer and then be like, okay, I'm done with you. Okay, so anyway, a position that is seems to be good in this area that allows the baby more head movement, free head movement, is when the mother is reclining or semi-reclining and the baby's body is supported on the mother's. And basically the mother is down under the baby. And they call it the Australian posture just because of this down under phrase. And it says the baby no longer has to work against the milk flow. So think of it like, okay, if the baby is under your breast and there's nursing and gravity is pulling that milk down, they have to fight the milk flow. If you are reclining back and you have the baby laying on you front faced, the baby is not, it's almost like sucking a straw. They're actually pulling the milk out and in the amount they need it rather than the milk pouring into their mouth. So that's kind of like a good way to think of it. And I'm going to take a picture that it shows on here of that position just to kind of give you a better idea exactly what I'm talking about, because it gives a really good picture there. Another more aggressive treatment is allowing the baby to feed only on one breast at each feeding to allow small amount of breast compression to tamp back the supply. I'm going to say nursing them only on one breast at each feeding. This can be done when the baby is, you notice the baby is spitting up a lot or vomiting, and you want to find out if it's oversupply. And even if you're not, you think it's not oversupply, feeding them on one breast might allow just the amount the baby needs to digest it before they take more. So start with one breast, and a baby can get a full feeding on one breast. So you never have to worry that you have to give both. And that's kind of another topic that really needs to be talked about. And I will make a video on that too. I have the time, so I might do that today as well, is, you know, do I have to switch back and forth? Can a baby feed on just one breast? And so that's important to know. So if you have an oversupply, and because I'm not really talking about oversupply, I'm going to say if the baby's spitting up or vomiting a lot, you can try this one feeding on, you know, just feeding on one side of the breast. Start off like that and see how far you can get that way and see if that helps the baby some. So basically, I'm going to just end it here. If you have questions, and I didn't cover something, please email or comment below. And I will try to make sure everything is posted at the end of this video that I had promised. So I kind of just want to end saying vomiting, spit up are normal, but not necessarily horrible, and not necessarily minor. So you definitely don't want to panic, because spitting up usually is normal and it doesn't affect their weight. So what I would say is, first of all, ask yourself, does it seem that they are affected by this vomiting and the spitting up? Do they seem very cranky, hungry, whiny, crying a lot, in pain, that kind of thing? Also, their output and how much they're getting, how many diapers they're going through. And so you've got your diapers as like the biggest idea, and then weight gain. So let's say your baby's spitting up a lot and in your mind it's vomiting, but their weight gain is good, they're happy, they're going through all their diapers, then I wouldn't worry about it. I would not worry at all. If they are projectile vomiting and they still seem normal, I would start looking at what I'm eating to see if it could be causing it. And then I would also start looking at the oversupply part of it, is possibly they're getting too much. And you would be surprised that a baby can get a full feeding in 8 to 10 minutes when they're a little bit older, like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. They can get it all in a very quick feeding. So, to you, you might say, well, they only fed for like 8 minutes, so how could it be oversupply? It could be because they could actually empty your breast in 5. So that's another thing to check, is oversupply. Could it possibly be oversupply? Could it possibly something that I'm eating? I would say if you cut out foods that you're eating and you're testing it and nothing is changing it, then oversupply is a very good chance. So look that up, email me if you have questions about it and, you know, are not really sure how to handle it. You want it explained a little bit more, and I can do that for you. So that's kind of how I'm going to end that video, this videos, because I don't want to talk so much that it's just too much information. I don't want information overload on you. So if you have questions and there's something I didn't talk about, go ahead and email me or comment below and I will respond. So I hope that helps a little bit. And like I said, I am going to go ahead and make another video on the topic I just mentioned before, and now it slipped my mind. Oh, feeding, and how often, how long, and do you have to switch sides? So I think I'll go ahead and talk about that quickly. That shouldn't be a very long video. So I hope this helps. And again, please feel free to email me or comment if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whatever it is for you.